Pick the most valuable. You found the Rochester, Indiana Coke bottle at the bottom of Lake what?
Lake Manitou.
Where's Lake Manitou?
Rochester.
Oh, it's in Rochester, Indiana.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So these people want to give you $300 for this.
In
1989, before the internet. Oh, too bad you weren't born yet and you couldn't call them. What do you think it's worth today? So you were on eBay and you looked at a sales record. Let's talk a little bit about sales records on eBay or anywhere. You have to make sure you have an authenticated sales record. What does that mean? Well, it reminds me of a woman who had a bottle, who sold a bottle in Texas. She got $1,200 for a bottle. The guy who bought it from her for $1,200 then wrote her a letter after she sold it to him for $1,200 on eBay and said, "You stupid woman, you sold me a $1,200 bottle and it's worth $60,000. How does this affect you? When you go to eBay and you look at a sales record, you see that bottle and you see it sold for $1,200. So you think your bottle, which is just like hers that she sold for $1,200, is only worth $1,200. That's the problem with folks who think they're appraisers looking at sales records on eBay or anywhere else. It's not only eBay. This bottle in my hand's worth about $500. Okay? If you sold it for $300 on eBay, you would be losing almost half. Right? Why? What else is going on these online auction sites? You know, there are a lot of straightforward, honest people who are buying and selling there, sure. But then there are also the people who are saying, I have an inventory of these things. I'm going to say they're worth a lot of money, and my friend Joe is going to buy them all for a lot of money. So now it looks like they're selling when really they're not selling. So you have to be able to identify all of that. You know, it's difficult. The other thing is you have to make sure you have the real one. I appraised one of these from 1916. Yours is from 1915, about the same amount. So remember, yours is rare because, again, it's from Rochester. Some people are looking for the local ones, and others are rare because of the shape and also condition. It's not chipped, it's not cracked, nothing. How do you keep it, Kim? How do you protect it? You have it in a glass dome at home, and it doesn't get too hot, right? Because heat, those glass domes get hot. So once every 6 months, take it out of the glass dome for a day and let the air circulate around it. Okay, thanks very much. Oh, so it was, you can have one of the antiques or get you something else. What month is your birthday?
February.
February, that's good. Is your birthday coming up or did you miss it? Did we miss it?
It's Monday.
It's Monday. Did you hear that, John? Her birthday's Monday. Did you make reservations? Have you got a little gift? Don't forget the card and don't put a number on it. Don't buy one of those stupid cards that has, you're 117. Nobody wants those cards. Only the 3-year-olds want those cards. Look, I'm 3. Yeah, you're 3. We don't want it. Once we're 25 or more, we don't want the number cards. Yay, you're 50. No, we don't want to be. Right? I'm right. Okay. So, birthday's coming up. You already made reservations. How much is this piece worth? Probably $350. This particular piece at the bottom is international silver. This is silver plated. It's very nice silver plate. It's American silver plate. These pieces here are brass, trying to look gold. So you've got the gold color and then the silver color. This is a bride's basket with a collar. See that? These areas here are also painted. Notice this part is cut out. People would think that's damaged. That's a cutout right here. You can see it where my hand is. That's a cutout. So they actually are very careful to cut it out so when you move this, it doesn't actually hit off against the collar. It's high quality for that. You've got the complementary color pairs of purple against gold. And value on that piece, as I said, the $350 range. American, early part of the 20th century, early 1900s. This particular bowl has an impressed thumbprint, okay, going all the way around. And then it is a piece of glass that also has coloration in it, right? So it's got a little bit of gold, a little bit of what I would call burgundy or maroon, reddish purple, and then a little bit of gray, right? So, did your mother use this bowl, and what did she use it for?
She didn't use it very often.
Didn't use it very often. Would she put something in it? Jello mold.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that. Something not, you know, she's not going to put like, let your father put his spare change and his car keys in there, right? It's basically, you know, it's usually for nice, but it had to be something, we're going somewhere, or important people are coming to dinner, that kind of thing, right? Okay. It's a nice piece, right? So, now, is it hand blown? right? There's a little pontil right here. That little pontil mark right here indicates that it's hand blown. So I want you to imagine a big glass furnace, right? And then I want you to imagine where they put the glass on this stick, a rod, they blow through the rod, right? Here comes the rod, my finger's the rod, and then they turn it and turn it and turn it and turn it, right? As they're coming out, they're gonna actually do this, right? If it were hand blown. And then the rod has to come out, they have to smooth that out, because you can even still feel some of that, right? They break off the glass rod, and all of a sudden you have a hand blown piece. It's hard to keep the blown pieces consistent, yet this one's quite consistent. The shape is very good. Piece dates probably to the middle part, early 20th century to the mid 20th century. Value on that piece, about $175. Glass is very popular. Glass this was in beautiful shape, but that retail value is pretty high. It's nice. How did you acquire the Westward Ho Pioneer? You're calling it an open butter dish. So in 1979, your mother paid $25 for it, and it is, of course, a Native American figure. And then these particular elements here, of course, are woodland animals. Here's a little cabin and such. Now, standing butter dish with a base here. These particular pieces are oftentimes serving pieces. So it could be utilized for anything. Could be butter, could be cheese, could be any other condiment and fact. Time period for it, about 1880. Value on it, about $150. It's nice. Hand frosted, hand cut votive candle holder. You bought it at an antique store. So are you of Swedish origin? That particular piece is, of course, the Madonna and Child. You'll notice the head tilt. When her head is tilted like this, it refers to the Northern European tradition. When they painted images of the Virgin Mary in the Renaissance, the 1400s, 1500s, her head would be tilted. And that would tell the Italians that it wasn't an Italian painter during the Italian Renaissance, because they'd have this characteristic head tilt. Then all the Italians started to copy that, based on an artist's work named van der Weyden. This particular tilt indicates its Northern European origin. Scandinavia, Denmark, Sweden, Northern Europe, Holland and such, Germany. Value on that piece is about $200. And it's for a votive candle, and when the candle's in it, you'll see actually the rays seeming like they glitter. But it's a very beautiful piece. It's quite large, it is crystal, and then it has been hand cut, so sculpted actually from the back. You've been taking care of this a long time. It's a gorgeous vase. They would possibly put them on hearths, sometimes floor vases, or you could put them in the middle of a big prestigious dining room table. That's where it was. So this particular piece is crystal. It's heavy. It has at least 25% of lead weight. Lead crystal. You can see it has a nice tone to it. It's kind of a silvery purple color, which we typically see. Dates to about 1900, made in the United States. This is all hand cut, hand frosted, hand cut by hand. Even these areas at the corners, hand cut. You notice the indentation? That's for those stems that want to droop. You can hold them up. So you can make a beautiful bouquet out of this. Value on this particular piece, about 10 years ago, they were $800 for one like this. And the market has changed significantly on them. Value on it about $350. Still beautiful. But yes, it has changed a lot with what we're doing. I am seeing a change with crystal. Many of you are thinking, what do I do with my American Brilliant Cut crystal and such? The crystal is really coming back. It's coming back strong. So if you can hold on to it or hand it down, it will increase in value. So don't give up on the crystal. Thank you very much. How'd you acquire it, Sandy? Came down that family. Got to talk into that mic. Okay. So your late mother-in-law gave it to your late son, your late husband, but it had come from people prior to her. Right. This piece dates anytime between 1850 and 1875. It's called a luminaire. You could use it as a vase, but what it's intended for is for you to put a candle in it, and then the reflections all come out. And then this all is hand painted. It is glass. It is frosted glass. My mother wouldn't be able to drink out of the glasses that were frosted. She couldn't stand it, you know. They're pretty glasses, but they're frosted. She didn't like that taste. This particular piece, if you put your hand gently over it, you can see, of course, that the birds and the bouquet are actually applied pigment. So you can feel the texture of them. And it's continued even on the back. Because the idea is if you have this up against a mantle or a wall, right, you can see the differences and the reflection. But if you have this in the middle of a table, the reflections will also reflect this little element too. It's very pretty. There usually are two. You only have one. Okay, that's not uncommon. Value on this piece dates from 1850 to 1875, made in America, hand painted. It's got good condition. It did have some gilding here, some gold leaf here. That's lost over time. Do you ever put flowers in it? No. It's a good idea not to put flowers in it. Use it for nice, my mom would say, right? Just to look pretty. Value on this piece about $225. It's very nice. You're welcome. How'd you acquire this? It's nice, isn't it? How much did you pay for it? Is it from the 70s? Well, what do you mean no clue? You paid $3, you have no clue. You spent $3 on this and you're not sure when it was made. It's signed. Signing is enough? Signing is not enough. But you figured, well, it's signed, Dr. Lori. It says E-L-L-I-E. E-L-L-I-E. Nice ting, huh? You like the ting? You're not going to learn anything from that ting. That ting, everybody's ears different. Nice pieces don't ting. Good pieces may ting. It all depends. How old is it? Did you look up Ellie? She got it at a yard sale? And it's signed. Did you pay more than 20 bucks for it? The piece dates from the late 1950s, the early 1960s. It's worth $60. Okay? Thank you, Valerie. I sang for you and everything. And this is for what? Sugar. Put that microphone up to your mouth, please. There you go. Now you're singing it. Okay. Those particular pieces are latter part of the 1800s. How did you acquire them?
My grandparents.
Do you see the green tint? They're not like white milk glass white. They're not like white like this milk glass. They have a green tint, which indicates that they're lower quality in terms of the purity of the milk glass. They're not bright white. They do have 22 karat gold gilding, gold leaf on top of it. Okay? So they're trying to make it look a little bit better than it was in terms of the way they were made. These would sit, of course, on a Victorian table. You remember the Victorians, right, guys? You know, sometime between, of course, 1837 and 1901, named for the reign of Queen Victoria. That's why we call them Victorian. These pieces are made in the United States, and these particular pieces have a mold number on the bottom for the glass. They're not hand-blown glass, they're molded glass. And value on the set, about 65 bucks. They date to about the turn of the century.